And this is Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services with another edition of our CBSI Services Talking Business. And today we have a chance to talk with Risa Hoag, who's the president of GMG Public Relations over just across the river in Rockland County. Very involved with the business community there and speaker at Hudson Valley Direct Marketing Club. And offering a lot of advice, working with our clients right now on getting through this unprecedented situation. Risa, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm good, Ken. Thank you for inviting me on. I appreciate it.
Well, we certainly enjoyed your talks at the Hudson Valley Direct Marketing Club over the last couple of years and other groups that you have shared expertise at. This is certainly an unprecedented situation. You know, we've talked a little bit offline about the impact on restaurants, on retail, and other industries. What's the general advice that you're offering to your clients right now on dealing with this unprecedented healthcare situation?
So it's a very interesting time because depending on which business you're in, you can be completely shut down or you can sort of be limping along. So a lot of the restaurants are able to do the takeout and have people deliver for them or have people pick it up. So through the Nanuet Chamber of Commerce, and a lot of the other chambers as well, are offering, we have a page now on our website where we are listing the businesses that are open in some way. So there are opportunities to get that word out. So not only through businesses' own Facebook pages, but also reach out to your chambers of commerce and ask how they can help. In Westchester, reach out to the Business Council of Westchester and ask, you know, they have a member news program that you can put your news on. There's also LOCALiQ is actually offering a directory of businesses, which is fantastic. So it's all over the country. They're part of LOHUD, part of Gannett. And you can actually go to that site, see if your business is listed. If it is, you can update it with information about gift cards or your website. If you're not listed, it's going to direct you to go to Google and update your Google listing there so that you can be listed. There are a myriad of other organizations that are offering free right now to list your business. So anybody who does event listings, for example, might be open to the opportunity of listing your press releases and your information instead, because they're also sort of missing out on the events that they used to list. I know that there's another one that serves Westchester and Rockland. Trying to think of it. I think it's called local wine events, maybe it's called. And they're offering to list information as well. So I guess my advice right now is to look at and research what opportunities there are available in terms of promotion. There are lots of them, so it's a matter of getting your information to those organizations. Even Clarkstown is now doing YouTube videos. So if you submit a video as your business, they will post it for you, and it should be a helpful video in some way. So we have a chiropractor, New City Chiropractic, and they're talking about healthcare and that kind of thing. So they did a video that will then be on the YouTube channel for Clarkstown. And anything to do with going live on your Facebook page, doing videos, just like you're doing really, and offering advice in your industry is great. At the Business Council of Westchester is doing an amazing job, and they had a small business council meeting yesterday on Zoom with, I think there were over 100 of us on there, which is great. And they had a whole bunch of experts giving a 3-minute sort of synopsis of things that you could do within those industries. So I did one on PR and talked about press releases that people can be writing now and helpful hints and tips that organizations can give to their audiences.
Well, John Ravitz and Marcia Gordon, the president of the Business Council of Westchester, do a terrific job. We were at a really good event they hosted in January. And in fact, we're going to talk with John Ravitz most likely tomorrow. Now, in talking about, you mentioned that you really want to look for the local distribution points for information going out to your segment or consumer audience. What are some of the keys to messaging, some of message content points that businesses want to make sure they get out to their customer base?
So this is a big part of what I talked about on yesterday's BCW meeting. You know, people are like, should I do PR? Should I do press releases? You know, what can I talk to people about? And I think the pivot here, the twist here is that your messaging shouldn't necessarily be sales focused, right? Because everybody's in a bad way, some worse than others. So you don't want to necessarily be selling in a hard sell way, but what you want to do is be informative in the information that you're providing. So one of the things I talked about yesterday, and I'm looking at my notes over here, the benefit of having Zoom and being able to review your notes at the same time. You know, one of the things I talked about was all organizations, big or small, are built on some sort of core value, some sort of brand value. So whether that is, you know, you're very innovative as a company, or you are very fast in responding, flexibility, whatever your core values are, your messaging now should cycle around that. So in other words, if you are known for your innovation, then you should be talking about how you're going to innovate during this crisis. You know, what are you doing to be flexible during this crisis to help your customers? What are you doing for speedy delivery or resetting expectations? So if you are known for delivery, but it's not going to happen as fast right now, be open and clear and transparent about that information. So that's one way of getting information out. In terms of the, people have asked me like, what method should I be using right now? You should be using all of them, meaning social media, press releases, your Facebook page, you know, your LinkedIn page, even doing, you know, just old-fashioned, I want to call it, you know, phone calls. You know, I tend to be a very big emailer back and forth all day long, and I've been picking up the phone and calling my clients and talking to them and what can we do and what do you need help with, and
So important.
yeah, just that because people want to know they're still connected, right? They want to have that one-on-one. Texting, some of the clients are doing texting now more than they did before. Webinars, you know, do like you're doing, you know, do webinars and just share information that people need to know. But then there's a whole series of press releases that people can be doing. So I kind of have them categorized in 5 categories. So one would be helpful. You know, how can you be helpful? Give 3 to 5 tips in a press release of, you know, what's happening to your customers, and here's tips for them getting through it, whether it's, you know, insurance related or whatever it is. So tips, and the media loves those kinds of things. The second one would be a problem solver. So what problem are you as a business owner dealing with? List the problem and then the solution. And in that, you're, you know, keep an eye on helping other businesses that might have similar problems. And they might read your article and say, oh, you know, yeah, that's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that. The third one is discussing pivots and shifts. So, you know, this is going to go on for a little while. So how are businesses shifting and pivoting what they do to still provide services? And sharing that information, again, can be helpful. So you try not to be salesy about it, but you try to be helpful about it in helping other businesses to see how they might be able to pivot or shift as well.
Sure.
The fourth one is being the voice of your industry. So what's happening in your industry? Can you share that on a local or regional basis in a paragraph to media contacts and say, I'm happy to give more information about what's happening in, you know, real estate or finance or insurance or, you know, whatever it is. And then partners is another one. So a lot of people are now starting to partner up and see how they can offer things together. And some of those partnerships might be unlikely partnerships. So that's interesting to the media. How are you partnering to still
What's an unlikely
stay in
partnership
business?
that you might think of?
So I'm trying to think of the one that I heard the other day. Oh, and it had to do with cleaning. All right, give me time and I'll get back to
Okay,
you
we'll come
on
back
that
to that
one.
one.
But there was a good one that I heard the other day and I said, oh boy, you wouldn't put those two together. But the media loves that kind of thing. You know, how are two businesses partnering to bring a service or do something that's innovative? And the last one I would say is trends. You know, so obviously this trend, we're all seeing this trend of, you know, business slowing down or, you know, things pivoting and shifting. So are you with that trend, and what can you share that's interesting about it? Or are you bucking the trend? And can you share information about that? Because the media and people do want to know that people are still doing well, and some businesses are doing well. You know, sometimes the people who are doing well almost don't want to share that information because it seems like, you know, everybody else is doing, having a tough time, a challenging time. I don't want to sound like, oh, you know, business is great for me. But people do want to hear the stories of like, no, business is good because I'm doing this, or I'm doing this, or I've shifted. And it might, again, spur them or give them some hope, you know, if they're feeling like business is really, you know, slowed down or stopped for them.
Sure. Now, one of the things I know the Business Council of Westchester looked at was the legislation that was approved in Washington last week. We talked a little bit to Elliot Engel about it. $2 trillion approved to help both individuals, workers, staff, employees, and businesses. How do you see that being implemented so that a small business or employees can take advantage of the benefits that are being provided by the federal government right now?
So that is a great question, and I don't think you could have known ahead of time that one of my clients is actually Rockland Community College, and Tom Morley, who is with the SBDC, is actually located on the campus.
What's that acronym? Why don't you tell me that?
SBDC, so that's the Small Business Development Center, which is funded under the SBA. So Tom Morley with the SBDC, located on the campus of Rockland Community College, is the main contact for Westchester and for Rockland for all of this information, exactly what you're asking. So I'm actually going to give out his information because he's asked me to do that. So it's Tom Morley, and his phone number is 845-356 6065, and that's the office phone number there. And a lot of this stuff is changing, you know, even day to day in terms of what's being rolled out to help businesses. But that's what Tom's office does, is help people understand it and file the paperwork. The websites are, you know, have been slow. So now they have implemented where you can download the documents and fill them out and then send them in. So you don't have to wait online for it to cycle to the next question, which was frustrating for some people. But there apparently is a tremendous amount of help out there in terms of what the government is doing. Whether or not it'll be enough in the long run, you know, we're just all going to have to sit tight and see, because we don't know how long this is going to go on. But Tom Morley is the ideal contact to get more information on the loans that are available.
Very good. Well, you're very involved in the local trade organizations, the Greater Nanuet Chamber of Commerce, and also you're the president of the Rockland Business Women's Network. What are some of the local organizations doing, working with different government agencies to help local businesses here in Rockland and also where we are in Westchester?
Good question. So the Nanuet Chamber has been doing, they're just amazing. I have to give them a huge shout out. So the Nanuet Chamber has actually been, we've taken our own funds, and then we have a sister organization called Nanuet and Beyond, which is a 501c3, and people can donate to that. And we've taken the money there, along with donations. So CompuTuners gave $1,000 donation, and we are giving money to People and Meals on Wheels here in Rockland. Now, the thing to know about that is if you were to go and buy food and give it to them, so it's going to be, if you paid $100 of food, you get $100 of food, right? The providers like Meals on Wheels and People can buy 6 times the amount of food you can for the same dollar. So if you give them $100, you're actually going to get $600 worth of value, which is astounding. So we'll be donating money to those 2 organizations, but we've also been buying food from our local restaurants. So we're supporting our local restaurants, and then we've been donating that, delivering that, masks and everything on, to the healthcare workers around Rockland County. So to Good Samaritan Hospital, Nyack Hospital, the paramedics and ambulance corps and all of that. So the Chamber's been doing an outstanding job of supporting, as well as having the page up on their website about restaurants and businesses that are still open and functioning.
Terrific.
Yeah, they're just dynamite. And I know that a lot of the other chambers are as well. So what I would suggest is that if you're in a particular township, go to that chamber's website, whether it's Westchester or Rockland, and see what they're doing to help you. In terms of the Rockland Business Women's Network, so what a fantastic organization. We've been around for 40 years, and we were in our heyday here, and we actually are being honored by the Rockland Business Association with a Pinnacle Award for our excellence as a nonprofit. And that was supposed to happen in May. Now it's rescheduled for July. We're hoping that that will be able to take place. We have about 100 members, and we've been doing Friday morning coffee chats. So we've moved all of our meetings online, our regular monthly meetings. So those are free and open for anybody to come to. So that's at rbwn.org is the website for that, and you can get the information there. But for our members, we're doing 9 a.m. Friday morning coffee chats. So we're checking in with people, see how they're doing, how are they doing personally, how are they doing professionally, how can we help them. We're promoting their information on our Facebook page. And tomorrow morning we'll have Patricia Stark on, who is she has a PR firm as well, but she also has a company called Confidence, C-A-L-M, Confidence. So how to be calm and all of that. And she does training on camera work and on Zoom, being on Zoom conferences. So she's going to be working with our members and telling them about how to look their best, which is why I am hopefully well framed and well lit, because Patricia did one for me as well. I have a network. I'm doing something similar to you, Ken. I have a show that I started called Insight Network, talking to professionals and experts in different areas. And so Patricia and I did one last week, and people can find it on my YouTube channel. So so the Rockland Business Women's Network is we are, still in having our board meetings all virtually, having our monthly meetings, and then doing these coffee chats as well. So, and the RBA has been outstanding as far as pushing information out there, via email about getting SBA funding and all of that. And of course the BCW, I can't say enough about the Business Council of Westchester. What a fantastic organization. And it's interesting because as you have these Zoom meetings, right, when you go to a regular networking meeting, you walk in the room and you know a few people and you say hi to your regulars, and then you'll reach out to a few others. But you can have a room of 60, 100 people, and you don't necessarily get to see everybody. And so when you Zoom, you can see everybody's face on the screen, right? And you can I'm finding myself going, oh, that's John? I didn't know that was John, or that's, Wendy,
well,
or
because they
whatever.
give you put the person's name right in the lower left corner.
Yeah, and you get to see them, their face up close versus someone pointing out across the room or whatever. So you're missing the opportunity to have those one-on-one chats, although you can set that up in Zoom to have like breakout rooms, if you will. But you are getting a chance to see people and get a chance to hear them talk individually through Zoom in a way that you haven't before. So I feel like I've seen people now on Zoom whose name I can put to a face. So it's interesting as we shift and learn to use these new technologies and acclimate to them. And I think some of this will stick around. I mean,
No
I have
doubt.
found that all the meetings that we've been doing, people show up on time, right? They're on Zoom. If you say 7:30, they're on Zoom, it's 7:30. So people are showing up on time. There's no sidebar conversations, which is a plus and a minus, but you can get through your meetings fairly efficiently, So we'll see what continues on after the crisis has passed.
Well, that's a great summary on using Zoom and the efforts that are being done in Rockland to help businesses through various organizations. And just to ask about our vertical in consumer banking, we work at CBSI primarily in the credit card area, but work with many savings and loans and credit unions around the country. Is there with many branches, I guess it's by area whether they're open or not, but how can banks at this point provide the best service? Is it just really making sure that they're able to answer inquiries online very quickly?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because people are struggling right now trying to figure out, do I go for the SBA funds and money, or should I go to my bank? Should I get a line of credit opened? Should I, access my HELOC, my home equity loan? So for what I would love to see is where the banks are reaching out to their customers, whether it's email or whether it's a phone call even, to say, hey, I know you have a line of credit, do you need it? Let's talk about it. Can we match the SBA loan number? Every bank is different, and obviously they're very big organizations, so they're not going to pivot or shift maybe as quickly as a smaller organization. But people are struggling with, what is the best thing for me to do? Do I lay off my employees and have them get the unemployment insurance, or should I go for this, this loan, which will eventually turn into a grant, and so I won't have to pay it back if I'm using it for employee payroll? So there are a lot of questions like that, and I think just sort of financial advisors and bankers being accessible and available to have those discussions would be great, because I think some people are afraid to ask. I think some people don't know where to start. I think some people don't know to ask, gee, I have a line of credit at my bank at, whatever it is, 6%, will you match the SBA, rate? Or what's the way for me to get the best rate? Or am I better off going with an SBA loan or funds that might turn into a grant and I won't have to pay that back at all? So there's a lot of financial questions right now. We had an RBWN chat just earlier this morning, and a friend of mine, Nancy, who's an accountant, she said, I'm just completely swamped with questions about which way to go for people and filing all the paperwork. So, it's a challenging time for everybody, but I think outreach goes a long way, whether it's a simply, almost like a non-salesy email, a simpler email that just says, here's some questions we've heard. If you've got these questions, call us. People just want to know that there's a ear out there listening, and someone who will give them the advice that they need.
So important. Risa, maybe just to finish up today, we appreciate your time. Maybe just tell us about some of the services that your company provides, GMG Public Relations, based in Rockland County, New York. What are some of the key things that you do to help your clients?
Sure. So GMG Public Relations has been around for 29 years, which is amazing to me. So almost 3 decades. And we basically do everything to do with visibility for our clients. So putting them in the spotlight in whatever way makes sense to reach their target audience. So we do traditional public relations, we do social media, we do advertising campaigns for our clients, creative branding, logo design. We do some websites for our clients, direct mail. And we also do market research, which has been interesting, because we have clients who say, well, just be my marketing department, and we start to talk about target audiences and how are they reaching them? And they'll say, oh, I don't know, or I'm not sure, or, I thought it was this, maybe it's this. So we've ended up over the years doing a lot of market research for our clients as well. So anything to do with visibility. I love a challenge. I love interesting businesses, and so we don't necessarily specialize in a particular industry or area, but I'm fascinated by a variety of industries. So and there's like 7 of us who work at any given time. I work with freelancers, but several of them have been with me for a really long time, and people might know Stephanie, who's the voice on the other end of the phone very often. So I have a really fantastic team, and am happy to help people, especially through this crisis. Reach out to me, send me an email, ask me your questions, and any way that I can help people get through this, I'm happy to do, because it's rough. It's rough.
Well, Risa, thank you so much for your time today and expertise, and the involvement you're in working in Rockland County, delivering food to Nyack Hospital, which I've been to quite a few times to see family members. So many valuable activities that you're doing, both professionally and as a volunteer leader in Rockland County. Great to chat with you today.
Well, thank you so much, Ken, and I appreciate what you're doing and bringing these these chats to people. It's just so important for us to really remain, connected. And, one other tip I would give people is, when you are, people are saying, how do you stay motivated? And, I get up every day, I do my workout, and then I schedule my Zoom meetings earlier in the day. So I get up, I get dressed, and I have a regular work day going. And I think that that's so helpful to feel that you're connected and to do your meetings earlier on. And then you can go outside and enjoy the sunshine later in the day. So, but I'm wishing everybody well, and please stay safe, stay home, wash your hands, and let's get through this together, as quickly as we can.
Absolutely. Great advice. And again, Risa Hoag is the president of GMG Public Relations based in Rockland County, New York, and also the president of the Rockland Business Women's Network. Thank you so much for your time and a great chat today.
Thank you, Ken. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. So this is Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services Talking Business. CBSI has provided credit card benefits to the credit card and payments industry for over 30 years. We're based in Harrison, New York. So on behalf of everyone at CBSI Services, our team in Harrison, have a great day. Stay well. This is Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services Talking Business.